Hey man, did you ever hear about that secret Arthur episode where he smokes weed and totally kills his parents? Yeah, I was hiding from the police for years before I found out they were never even looking for me. See, I know things about PBS that the average steak and football loving American covered in Dorito crumbs would not know about. Arthur. The show is about an aardvark. Based on known availability heuristics, he wore clothes and glasses, went to school, learned life lessons, and very rarely ate ants. And that's exactly the problem. See, when you're a kid, life's a lot simpler. You just think money's used to buy hot frisbees and 8-track players, the stylish fashions of the times, whatever they may be now. You don't know about death, disease, mortality, what it is to love, what it is to die. You're just a kid. Your whole life revolves around tying your shoes and playing the Nintendo. Sad to say, this episode of Arthur was nothing like whatever actually aired. See, I worked for the Public Broadcasting Service from 1994 to 1996. I hosted the telethons, promoting fancy umbrellas, high-quality tote bags, and other quality products that only viewers like you purchased to enable the Arthur. But the animators went nuts in the later years. PBS kids outright refused to acknowledge their ideas and suggestions for later seasons of Arthur. // PBS test screenings to kid audiences resulted in a whole new set of weird and experimental designs for Arthur 2.0, the dubbed program title, which never aired. The show was created by Cookie Jar Group, renamed from the more evil named group Sinar, named as such perhaps because they were a cabal of satanic lunatics that were inserting subliminal mind programming messages in the Arthur. I mean, the show taught lessons about exploring, building friendships, and others. But what a lot of people don't know is that many of the lessons are often changed in post-production, including episodes where Arthur learns such gems as, it's only wrong if you get caught, and there is a certain level of morality to telling lies if they obscure a more hideous truth. But the most astonishingly vile of these cancelled eps was the one where Arthur smokes marijuana and learns that all of space and time are an illusion. The universe is just slow, vibrating consciousness, and human beings are basically fluid sacs designed to carry genetic material for the maternal hive queen, a budding dormant virus that exists within all of us, waiting to one day awaken and overtake, usurp the throne, if you will, and control all of the human populace as a singular controller of the opera radioactive bio-machine head. I bit into a piece of spearmint gum and put the tape on. It was 60 degrees in the apartment and the plastic was rubbery. The episode started as normal. And I said, hey, hey, what a wonderful time of day, day, to learn and laugh and play and get along with each other. How'd you, did you think I did a good job? Anyway, the only difference was that Arthur looked a little angry, and he was moving in more jerky motions with cartoon-stylized eyebrows that held a sinister smile. The episode got weird immediately because his best rabbit friend Buster came in holding a blunt. I'll put it blunt. He offered Arthur a blunt.
You know, our parents are lying to us,
Buster Baxter said.
Check this out.
Buster lifted his leg, revealing that it had been cut off and the bloody wound had been cauterized.
That's my lucky rabbit's foot.
He laughed. I felt like puking. // This wasn't meant for kids. No way. This was a kid's show. What happened to your foot? Arthur said.
I cut it off,
Buster Baxter replied.
Now they'll have bad luck for 7 years.
Who? Arthur said. I fuck you not. He looked directly into the camera, smiled, and said, "The animators." He picked up 6,561 M&Ms off the floor. This episode was titled Arthur Learns His Lesson About the Animators, so it made sense, I guess, or so I thought. Buster Baxter hands Arthur a blunt and lights it. Kind of disturbing considering Arthur is 8 years old. "I can't smoke that," Arthur said, astonished. "It will impair my cognitive development." Buster smiled, slash, 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 and his face started to melt.
"But it will repair your oblongative telekinetive." "We both hear voices."
A voice whispered, and both Arthur and Buster Baxter turned pale as a ghost.
"Did you hear that?"
Arthur grabbed the faggot and took a heavy, heavy dab.
"Whoa,"
Arthur said. I said. The screen got all fuzzy.
"What a wonderful time of day."
Arthur looked at his watch, and of course it said 4:20, a common time that marijuana smokers love, because if you divide 4 into 2, you get 2, and marijuana makes you feel more connected to the number 42. Arthur is seen rooting through old family photos of his relatives. "What's that?" Arthur says. He points to a picture of a realistically drawn aardvark with a thick, long snout used to scout for ants in the equatorial South American plateaus. "That's Grandpa."
"And he has a snout,"
Buster says, taking a long, heavy toke of the weed.
"What happened to my snout?"
Arthur grabbed at his face, revealing smooth, snot-filled nostril holes. Buster looked high as hell as his disheveled eyelids began to droop.
"That's circumcision, bro. Your parents circumcised you."
Slash, slash, slash. Arthur's eyes grew wide as saucers, and he smoked another blunt. He ate the blunt and chewed the blunt, not realizing you're not supposed to chew weed because it causes cancer. My whole life is a lie," Arthur said. "I went to school. I went to church. I played the tag team football. I learned about sharing and caring and playing, but..."
"Clothing!"
Arthur screamed.
"Corrective eyeglasses!"
Screamed some more.
"That's my fucking face! My fucking face!"
Arthur got really angry. Buster Baxter smiled. He turned over his palm, revealing horrific sores and cuts. He lifted his face, revealing a demonic face underneath. "I'm not Buster Baxter!" Luciferian effigy smiled away.
"You're gonna have to kill them, Arthur."
Slash, slash, slash. Buster's face lay on the floor like an old Halloween mask, but it was talking despite the fact that his eyes were hollow.
"Don't listen to the devil, man. I'm your friend. Your family is doing this. They took you from your natural habitat. They mutilated your face. They deprived you of ants and ant products. Kill them all. As Mahatma Gandhi said, an eye for an eye gives everyone a slice of pie. Have you been sold something recently? Capitalism is a lie." "Fuck capitalists," Arthur said. What was this communist propaganda? What Arthur said next truly confused me something terrible, and he was getting increasingly disheveled as the room appeared to be getting hotter. The demonic effigy had turned the thermostat in Arthur's house up to 126 degrees and was chewing on the bone marrow of Baxter, who was now dead and rotting, with rodents feasting on his rabbit flesh. He picked up a book off the bookshelf and threw it at DW. She fell backward with an apparent concussion and swallowed her tongue. She's a 4-year-old. She's a fucking 4-year-old. Slash, slash, slash. Arthur's eyebrows had become angry now. "Where's my snout?" Arthur said. He ripped off his glasses and he couldn't see anything.
He stumbled down the stairs and knocked into a bookshelf. He felt his face up, feeling his feeler face for his snout.
"You're a boy, Arthur,"
a voice whispered.
"Go play with the kids outside,"
the voice whispered. Arthur noticed a sound box in the corner that he had never seen before. He put his ear to it.
"Sharing is caring, it's fun to learn. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, government agents are watching you in a tree."
Arthur picked up the sound box and smashed it. He was really mad now. Veins were popping out of his neck. He was visibly angry, fuming with rage. He looked in the tree and saw two men dressed in aardvark suits staring.
"Go play baseball with your friends,"
the tree whispered. Arthur went to his father's liquor cabinet and smashed it open with his fist, smashing and smashing and smashing away.
"This is all because of capitalism. The capitalist porks with their pork money and pork lies,"
Arthur said. He fell on the floor and kept smashing.
"Currency is the controlling agent in the biomachine head. They want us fighting over the scraps as we feed the virus. But viruses aren't alive,"
Arthur said, turning to the side where a real, visible virus had pronged itself to the side of his bleeding neck. The capsid shook. The base plate and tail fibers furrowed, smiling. The other characters walked in. They walked over DW's corpse and the words "dope-ass weed" flashed on screen, revealing what the animators had in mind all along. Francine Frensky began to open up a tea set and poured fake tea for her dolls and some fold-out, flip-out chairs. Brain Powers was celebrating Kwanzaa. Muffy Crosswire began baking easy dough playset brownies. "Let's learn to share," they all began to say. Arthur looked really disheveled. "Listen to me, you fucking assholes. I've had enough of your shit." Ants began to crawl across the floor, drawn in high artistic vigor, as Arthur became increasingly concerned and angry. The temperature was so hot that many of the characters were visibly sweating and burning to death as the door upstairs had mysteriously been nailed shut during the tea playset rodeo. "George Lundgren," he started to cry. "George Lundgren, you're a moose!" And indeed, George began to cry as well. "They glued off your hooves and trimmed your antlers, put you in an orange button-down, but you used to roam the fields and see the great Midwestern Applines. Mounties did this to you." Arthur took out the family album and turned the page, revealing several highly scientific drawings of the other characters. "Let's all share and play," Binky Barnes stated firmly. "You want to share, right?" He picked up a tea-set knife and lunged toward Arthur Aardvark. Arthur started to cry. Slash, slash, slash. The ants began to eat and consume the cast members, many of them screaming as they were chewed to skeletal remains. Arthur grabbed Binky Barnes and stabbed him with the plastic knife. He fell forward, screaming as the blood entrails became saturated with heat and ant pheromones. My snout!" Arthur cried with delight. It was an elephant snout. "I finally found it." Arthur smiled and attached the elephant's snout, sewing it on without anesthesia, bleeding and screaming as he inserted the needles into his fucking face. He took another toke of weed. He used his snout to inhale a big old snout full of water, but instead blood shot out of the bleeding nostrils painfully. He was hemorrhaging, and as the blood, plasma, and H2O mixed together, he just laughed. He was complete. The remaining bones were shaped into a house, and Arthur sat there with his elephant snout, smiling away on his bone swing made from the dead remains of the other cast members, smiling and swinging as the heat slowly suffocated him to death. That was when real grown men in medvac suits came in. They sprayed the area down with white fumigatory antiperspirant. Under 6, a SWAT team came in and cleared the area, shooting Arthur in the head twice to ensure he was dead. What are we going to tell the parents? The man in the medvac suit said. What? The other one said. I said, what are we going to tell the animator's parents? The man in the med suit laughed a hearty laugh. Sharing is caring. He laughed. You sweep the bones and bloody remains of Binky Barnes into an anti-contaminant garbage bag full of syringes. One of the men in the medvac suit began to dance, laughing. And I said, hey, what a wonderful time of day. He laughed, lifting the melted remains of Muffy Crosswire's bleeding corpse into the air, scanning it with ultraviolet light for evidence of parasites. Indeed, Arthur never left town. There was no outside world, and Arthur the show? The whole thing was a lie. An experiment. A lie experiment. No school, no work, no jobs. Every incident of mobs. Halloween as black as night, it seems. Little killers for over 50 years, from dictators to followers with spears. No national relief, no government belief. No one asked them how they got that way. And me, I think they were right. But what was more curious, scarier, and confused me years later, actually made me frightened, was not the fact that the show didn't air. It did air. But most who saw it air saw nothing wrong. What shocked and horrified me was normal for most people, and most parents watched it with their kids. They watched it and they smiled and smiled and smiled away. I bet deep down they knew something was wrong, but they didn't say a word. The only thing worse than a conspiracy slash is something hidden in plain sight. / equals 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd.